Have you ever wondered why some men walk into a room and suddenly everything feels different? They're not the richest, not the best looking, not even the loudest. Yet somehow people turn toward them. Something about their presence changes the air. And then there are others, talking nonstop, trying hard, explaining, joking. But no one really listens. Their words just pass through people's minds and disappear. Think about it. Why can one man say almost nothing and still capture every woman's attention, while another with perfect style and practiced charm fades in seconds? It's not luck. It's not money. It's energy, an invisible signal that tells the subconscious, this one leads, this one matters. Most men chase the right words, trying to sound interesting, clever, impressive. But the rare few understand that conversation is not about words. It's about control of energy. Every exchange is a silent negotiation of power. If you don't claim that space first, someone else will. In the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly how that energy works. You'll see the hidden pattern behind attraction and respect, why most people lose it without even realizing, and how a single moment of doubt in your tone or your eyes can flip the whole dynamic against you. This isn't another how to talk video. It's the anatomy of invisible influence. You'll learn how to turn every word into a strategic weapon, how to create a frame of quiet dominance without raising your voice, and how to leave your presence carved in someone's mind long after you've gone. No one ever told you the full story. The media shows you the surface, smiles, charm, nice phrases, but they never reveal the system underneath. How power actually moves between two people, and how instinct always decides before reason even speaks. What you're about to hear isn't taken from pop psychology blogs. It comes from hidden studies, private letters, and centuries-old observations about human behavior and control. Principles that still rule every unspoken battle between desire and perception. So here's the deal. In the next few minutes, you're going to understand the trap most people fall into, and more importantly, how to step out of it. But I have to warn you, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing it in every conversation, every glance, every silence. If you're fragile, stop now. But if you're ready to learn the difference between a man who talks and a man who leads, stay. Because a new code of power begins right here, and it begins now. They say that long ago, in a quiet monastery deep in the mountains, a young student asked his master, "Teacher, how do I win people's hearts?" The master didn't answer. He simply raised a small oil lamp and said, "Fire survives only when it understands the wind. If it fights the wind, it dies. If it dances with it, it grows." The student didn't understand. He thought it was poetry. Years later, when he spoke before crowds and saw how people reacted, he finally realized what the master meant. Real influence doesn't come from force. It comes from rhythm, from knowing when to move, when to pause, and when to let silence speak. That same truth lives inside every conversation today. Each exchange between two people is a current of energy. If you don't shape it, it shapes you. If you don't lead the frame, you will always live inside someone else's. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone and everything is going fine until it suddenly isn't. Her eyes drift, her attention fades, and you can't explain why. It wasn't your looks, your clothes, or your words. It was the moment your energy broke, the instant you stopped being centered and started needing something. That's when the instinct on the other side decides, this one doesn't lead. The ancient master would have called that not knowing the wind. Machiavelli called it losing perception. Modern psychology calls it frame collapse, the instant when your subconscious gives up control of the interaction. You see, neuroscience today confirms what those old philosophers already knew. A study at MIT found that in less than 7 seconds, the brain decides who holds authority in a conversation. Not from logic, not from words, but from tone, rhythm, and confidence. The mind doesn't listen to what you say. It listens to how certain you are when you say it. That's why two people can say the same sentence and create completely different reactions. One speaks from calm focus, the other from hidden anxiety. The words are identical, but the energy isn't, and energy always wins. Think about your own life. How many times have you felt someone lose interest mid-conversation and thought, what did I do wrong? It wasn't what you said. It was the micro signals, the softened voice, the nervous laugh, the half-second delay when your focus slipped. That's the invisible moment when control leaves your hands. You've probably felt it, haven't you? That sudden drop in energy, that subtle shift, where the other person somehow takes the lead and you're just reacting. If you have, share this with someone who needs to hear it, because most people never realize that what they call bad chemistry is actually just bad framing. And if what I've said so far makes sense to you, like this video, so I know you're still with me. Because in a moment, we're going to go deeper into the part nobody ever explains. The place where silence becomes a weapon and unpredictability turns into power. But not yet, because right here, something dangerous begins to unfold. Most people believe conversation is about exchanging words. It's not. Words are just the surface. The real communication happens underneath, in tone, rhythm, timing, and emotional control. Every word carries a hidden frequency. You can say something perfectly logical and still lose someone's attention because your emotional signal didn't match the meaning of your words. The brain listens to emotion first and logic second. It always has. That's why Machiavelli said, "He who tries to be loved by everyone will be betrayed by most." Because when your energy says, "Please like me," the subconscious reads it as a weakness. And weakness, no matter how well spoken, is never attractive. Real influence begins when you stop chasing approval and start projecting stability. Confidence isn't loud. It's calm. It's the ability to be completely silent and still make people wait for what you'll say next. Think about the myths. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind. But that fire wasn't just heat or light, it was awareness, the ability to understand one's own influence. That's what separates humans from animals. We know we can affect the world around us. Every man who learns to control his reactions in a conversation is carrying that same fire. He's no longer at the mercy of emotion. He directs it. He uses tension the way an artist uses contrast, not to destroy, but to define. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's what happens in every failed conversation. Your unconscious fears take the lead and you call it bad luck. But when you become aware of your internal state, the micro shifts in tone, the urge to explain, the need to fill silence, you stop being a participant and start becoming the architect of the moment. Modern psychology calls this emotional regulation. Every time you choose stillness instead of reaction, you rewire your brain for power. Because control is a muscle. The more you practice it, the quieter your mind becomes, and the quieter your mind, the louder your presence. Artists have known this for centuries. Van Gogh once wrote, "To understand light, I had to first paint the darkness." And it's the same in communication. If you can't sit inside silence, you'll never understand the impact of a single word. Music teaches this better than anything. A melody isn't defined by the notes, but by the pauses between them. That space, the breath between sounds, is what makes the emotion hit. Silence isn't absence. It's design. Here's something practical you can use right now. Next time you're in a conversation, pause 3 seconds before you reply. Just 3 seconds. The human brain tries to predict your next move. And when it can't, it becomes fully focused on you. That small delay multiplies your influence instantly. Simple, precise, lethal. And now it's time to uncover the golden principle. The one rule that ties everything together. The core that both Machiavelli and modern psychology agree on. One day a man came to a philosopher and said, "I want people to like me. Teach me how to make them love me." The philosopher smiled and answered, "If you want to be loved, first learn to live without needing love." That is the golden principle. Real power starts the moment you stop needing approval. Because in every interaction, one simple rule decides everything. The person who needs less always leads. When you speak with the goal of being liked, your body and tone quietly send signals of weakness. Even if your words sound confident, your energy betrays you. But when your goal is simply to be present, not to prove anything, not to please, you automatically set the frame. People start to move around your calm instead of you chasing theirs. Machiavelli once wrote, "The man who seeks to please everyone will be betrayed by all." In modern terms, it means if you base your value on other people's reactions, you've already given them control of your emotions. Here's the golden rule in simple words. Stop trying to be liked. Start being stable. Because stability creates attraction. Calm creates trust. Presence creates respect. Once you understand this, something changes inside you. You stop reacting to every mood around you. You realize that your calm energy is the message. You don't have to explain it. You just live it. And now you know something 99% of people don't. Influence begins when need ends. When you no longer chase attention, attention finds you. When you start trying to fill silence, people wait for you to speak. When you pull back, the world leans closer. Here's a practical rule to remember. Anytime you feel energy slipping away in a conversation, don't try to fix it. Don't rush. Simply say, maybe this isn't the right time. Then step back. That small withdrawal resets the frame instantly. Machiavelli taught this to princes centuries ago. Do not announce your power. Assume it. The leader never says, "I'm in control." He acts as if control already exists, and everyone else adjusts to that belief. The same applies here. Never say, "I'm confident." Just slow down, breathe deeper, and let silence do the talking. Because real influence doesn't come from noise. It comes from clarity. And once you have clarity, the world starts to move in rhythm with you. Ask yourself this: do you have the courage to stay calm while everyone else is shouting for attention? Remember that power that needs to be proved is no longer power. True strength is when people believe you even before you speak. And that's where transformation begins. Because from this point on, you're not the same person you were when you started. But right here, a new truth is waiting, one that separates control from manipulation. No one is born powerful. Every man who now controls a room once struggled to control himself. Every calm voice you admire was once shaking. Every strong presence began as doubt. Transformation starts the moment you stop chasing approval and start directing attention. You stop waiting for people to see your value. You become the value. Psychology has proven that the human brain only changes under pressure. Growth never happens in comfort. It happens after the silence, after rejection, after the moment you feel small. That's when your mind begins to rebuild itself. So every no you've ever received wasn't failure. It was data. It was a message showing you where your old self stopped working. Every uncomfortable moment was removing the weaker version of you, the one that needed validation to breathe. Neuroscience explains this with something called mirror neurons. They make people reflect the energy they feel from you. If you're calm, they become calm. If you're anxious, they mirror that anxiety back. And if you master your tone, rhythm, and silence, you can shift the entire emotional temperature of a conversation without saying a word. That's your new armor. It's invisible, but it's real. It's built from awareness, or see here, from presence, from control. Every man has two sides, the one he shows the world and the one that carries his fears, doubts, and fire. Transformation happens when those two sides finally meet, when what you say matches what you believe. When you don't perform confidence, you are confidence. Once that happens, people start to trust you without knowing why. Because the human brain always recognizes authenticity. It feels when words and emotions come from the same source. From this point forward, conversations change. You stop talking to impress. You start listening to read. Every pause, every shift in tone, every breath It's information, and information is control. Machiavelli once wrote, "The wise king reads the battlefield before the war." You do the same thing now. Every conversation is no longer a fight for attention. It's a map, and you decide where it goes. But here's the part most people miss. Real power isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering your reaction. If you stay calm while others panic, the dynamic always bends in your favor. People naturally follow the one who feels safe inside. That's why inner peace isn't weakness. It's the highest form of dominance. Because when everyone else loses control, you become the center they orbit around. From now on, you're no longer just part of the conversation. You are the gravity of it. Your silence has weight. Your calm has direction. But be careful. The moment you realize how powerful this is, a new temptation appears. To use it for control instead of connection. And right there lies one last secret. The difference between influence and manipulation. The final piece that turns awareness into wisdom. We'll uncover that in the end. Power always comes with a shadow. If you don't learn to guide it, one day it will guide you. Now you understand what most people never will. You know how presence works. You know how silence shapes attention. You know how to read the subtle shifts in tone, body, and energy. But the real test begins now, because power without purpose becomes destruction. The goal was never to control people. It was to understand them, to move through the world with awareness instead of reaction. Real confidence isn't about getting what you want. It's about staying calm when you don't. Because when you can stay centered, even when things fall apart, you've already won. Every conversation you enter from now on gives you two choices: react or respond. Reacting is survival. Responding is mastery. The truth is, the world doesn't reward the loudest person in the room. It rewards the one who understands rhythm, when to speak, when to hold silence, and when to walk away. That's leadership. So here's your practical rule for every day. In your next interaction, before you speak, breathe once and observe. Just notice the room, the tone, the pace. That moment of awareness resets your brain and brings you back to control. Do this again and again until it becomes who you are. That's how power becomes presence. Remember the question we started with. Have you ever wondered why some people change the entire room just by walking into it? Now you know why. Because they mastered themselves before trying to master anyone else. Once you control your emotions, you control your tone. Once you control your tone, you control the frame. And once you control the frame, you no longer need to chase power. You are power. So don't look for validation. Look for clarity. Don't aim to dominate. Aim to stay grounded. When your peace comes from within, the world around you adjusts to it automatically. You've finished the circle, from words to silence, to presence to influence. That's the real transformation. And if, even for one moment while watching this, you saw yourself in this story, if something inside you shifted, then like this video so I know you felt it. Because this isn't the end. This is just one piece of the puzzle. In the next chapter, we'll go even deeper into how to build the world around your presence, so influence becomes effortless, natural, and lasting. But for now, remember this. True power isn't about being seen. It's about being felt.